Bullshit.
It's the No BS Marketing Show. I'm your host, Dave Mastovich. Our guests today, and that is guests, plural, are Chris Salerno, VP of Sales and Marketing at Kennywood, and Nick Paradise, the Director of PR for Kennywood. And you want to talk about Pittsburgh and the stories of Pittsburgh? Kennywood is one of them. Part one of the show, guys, we got the chance to talk a lot about your backgrounds. So I want to start with you, Chris. Mm-hmm. Tell me your favorite part of the Kennywood story. What is the most compelling thing that people don't know about Kennywood, I guess I would say? Because, you know, some of the stats that I looked up before we came on the show, founded it in 1898. Two of the buildings there still remain. The Jackrabbit, which is one of my favorites, is from 1920. The Thunderbolt from 1968. Everyone knows Kennywood. But what are some of the stories you want to tell?
Well, it's funny you mentioned it, because one thing that hit me was, again, a lot of amusement parks, school business, group business has fallen off. Okay, part of my job is also to administrate the group sales, and what amazes me still is the school program. We actually still have people on staff, part-timers, who go into the schools and sell tickets in the schools like they did back in the 1950s, 60s, 70s. To me, that is just amazing, being in this business and not being jaded. But that does not happen any other part of the world, but Pittsburgh. I mean, that's such a tradition. And I understand that there's been some new superintendents who come in from outside the area, and for budget cuts, they want to cut out the school picnic. I almost understand they almost get run out of town.
It's not going to happen.
No.
Torches and pitchforks.
So that is amazing, and people don't realize, again, that's something that's really unique to Pittsburgh. And the other thing, too, is we have large companies that have been having their annual picnic at Kennywood for, I don't know, like 100 years. Yes. And some of the community events, the Italian festival that's 80 some odd years. I'm just really amazed by that. And a lot of people don't understand there's a whole lot of moving parts. People, we joke sometimes, being in the business, people have asked me, is that a full-time job? What do you guys do during the winter?
Oh, that's BS.
No, but it's a good question, because people don't realize there's a whole lot of moving parts. There's a whole lot of sophistication that goes into working at the park. And, like I said, part of our challenge is you got a park that's 118 without years. And sometimes people look at it, well, it's an older park, but that's the uniqueness. I mean, that is our, competitive, our brand is the fact that we're still one of the few traditional amusement parks. So I look at the product, again, for the most part, probably about 90% of our business comes from the Pittsburgh area, a little bit from the Southern Ohio. But we're now, fortunately, because of technology and the internet and new channel management, we are able to reach people in Philly, New York, New Jersey, Washington, the Baltimore, the Maryland area, to say, here's a special product. If you're going to have children, you want to go to a great family entertainment center. Yeah, we are different than your large theme parks. It's a little bit more slower paced, and the unique rides and the attraction, people just can feel the history and the difference. So that's
tell me what about your new channel management that you just mentioned.
Well, like I said, we really do use multiple channels. We have obviously we still use TV and radio, but frankly, that's getting to be lesser and lesser extent. Each year, we cut our budget and shift dollars more into the social media space, and that's why when I was looking to bring on a new PR person, it was really more of a PR/social media director or manager, and I was really impressed with Nick's. His background in that area, and he's a good writer, good communicator, but also understands the social media space, okay, the whole digital space. So we're spending more and more money, and like I said, online, okay. We'll use, for example, it's an obscure audience, but the at work or the in office is a very vibrant, robust advertising community that we reach, directly. I have my own salespeople contact HR directors, employee benefit administrators, and they'll sell tickets at their place of business or push out. We now have created a URL program. It's really pretty neat. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when you used to schlep around discount coupons and cards and take them out to the companies. Now we create a special URL. It's just unique to that company. That takes them to their own landing page. We put their logo on it, and then they push that out to their employees through their emails, intranet site, or any other type. Going old school with flyers, and then the employees just type in the URL into their computers and order their tickets online from the.
And this is for any time of the year, not just that company's picnic.
Right, that's right. Years ago, that was one thing. Companies would have a company picnic, where some of them didn't have a picnic. Would actually take our physical tickets on consignment and actually sell them, and we'd give a price that would serve as an incentive for them to. It was deeper than any type of a discount. It's deeper than any type of promotional discount you would be available to the public, like Giant Eagle. And then talk about channel management. Giant Eagle is a perfect example. They sell in excess of 100,000 tickets every year for Kennywood, have been doing so. And they're a great partner. So we talked about, we have our promotional partners like the Giant Eagles. We have the at-work programs that we put in place. So I just talked about the URL program, our consignment program. And again, we've never forgotten, Kennywood has been a park that was built on picnics. Dating back to the Civil War, people used to come out to that area for picnics, and it still remains one of the most. No other amusement park does the type of picnic business that we do, and I think that speaks volumes about the companies in the area and their commitment to their employees. And I think it also talks to the track record that we do of delivering a very, very good product. Okay, that's something that we look at. And then Nick can talk a little bit more about how we do really move into the whole social media and the blogging and some new things that we're doing moving forward.
That's Chris Salerno, VP of Sales and Marketing at Kennywood. I'm Dave Mastovich, the host of the No BS Marketing Show, and we're going to talk to Nick Paradise. First, I have to say, I'm sure you get it all the time. I would be remiss, I'd be a BSer not to say, what are some of the famous lines that people say to you about your last name?
Wow, that's a great name, of course. I might hear Strains of Paradise City by Motley Crue. Of course, Two Tickets to Paradise by Eddie Money is probably the most common one. Are you in insert creative profession on TV? Private eye detective, stripper, porn star was my nickname at a summer job that I had once upon a time. I get it for fairly often, but I'm very happy to. My parents blessed me with a great last name that you might not remember my first name, but usually people remember that.
I have to tell you, when I was prepping for the show, I kept saying Nick Paradise. That is just so many ways we can go with that.
That was one of the reasons I hired him. I thought it was a great name.
Beautiful. And, you're doing something that's kind of like Paradise. You're in a fun business,
Absolutely.
Hospitality. You're at an icon of Pittsburgh. So, Nick, talk about the channel management, the social media, the digital marketing that you do.
So, that's critically important for us. We have I came into it with a very large following on Facebook, not so much in some of the other spaces. And so I set out almost immediately to make an impact And I think for my first several months, while my title is public relations and social media, for the first several months, my focus was more on the social spaces for Kennywood. It's an area where, again, this is one of the advantages that we have and all companies have, that we don't have to rely on the whims of the news industry to reach our audience like we once had to. We can reach them directly through our social media spaces. And so we set about to do that, to engage with them, to show them the images that think, even in the dead of winter, man, I can't wait until summer at Kennywood, and I really want to go there. Maybe I'll buy my tickets now because they're having a sale, or I'll buy my season pass now. And so we can drive revenues even in off periods.
So give me your top social media outlet, and what's the kind of impact you guys have? What's the footprint?
So Facebook is still the king. We have about 330,000 followers of our Facebook page, and it's it does skew now towards an older audience. I'm I guess an older millennial myself, and that's about generally the youngest range that you're going to get, at least that engages us with. But it is largely, females from 45 to 65 that
the
are
growth
the
on
primary
Facebook each of the last 5 years. The biggest growth was grandmoms.
Yep.
So
Yep, it
grandmothers.
continues to grow, and we see when we do those Throwback Thursday posts and the black and white pictures, and I'm amazed at the comments that I see and people that talk about riding rides in the 40s, and I think, my goodness, you're on Facebook and you rode the Thunderbolt when you were in 1948. That's or not Thunderbolt, the Pippin, which predated the Thunderbolt in 1948, and that's and you're on Facebook. That's crazy, but it really is, and it just speaks to the power of these places. I was talking even with a friend of mine at church, and they're going to have a thing, and they're going to, how do they reach people? Put up flyers. And I said, well, you're going to, post to different community groups on Facebook because, you go to where the people are. And that's, we have these digital communities. It might be sad in some ways that we don't have the interpersonal communities as much, but, what we have are digital communities. So we set out
talk
to
about
engage
that.
with people
Talk about what content do you put on Facebook? How often and why? And he's writing notes over here.
Sure.
So Chris is
we
in on
post,
this too.
At least daily, often multiple times a day, especially now that we're in the summer season. It's image heavy. We're starting to focus more and more on video and add, implement video into the mix because that's where the trends point. That's what engages people. We did our first couple live Facebook broadcasts, and they did really well. We have a very engaged audience. They love to see photos. They love to talk with us. They love to share their photos. We also supplement that with, and most of what we do is organic. We don't put a massive amount of money, and that's kind of one of the advantages of the digital space too. Is that even when you do invest in boost or pay promote posts, you're not talking about the kind of price tags that come with a TV spot to reach people, and you can even segment. I want this to target women, ages, regions, locations. So if we want to hit with a post that's going to resonate and reach transplanted Pittsburghers in the DC area that are a weekend trip away, we can do that via Facebook.
Brilliant.
And
now,
that's
I'm going to come back to you, but what I'm impressed about you, Chris, is that throughout the conversation you've talked about how you don't necessarily love all these social media channels, but you were astute enough to jump on this, and you weren't tooting your own horn, but I'm just saying I'm impressed by it. So talk about how that's been for you, because, in the 70s, 80s, even throughout the 90s, it would have been being able to buy KDKA.
Yeah, and there's a lot of folks who, baby boomers who haven't been able to adapt and are still kind of pushing back or drawing a line in the sand and want to hang on to, their legacy practices. And I realized, as Nick was talking about, Kennywood was born for social media. We tell stories every day, and Nick is a great storyteller. The social media channels give us the venue or the opportunity to tell our stories. He could talk a little bit more about. We had really ran a very successful falling in love with Kennywood campaign, where people,
Great idea.
yeah, and it was great. We had photos of, and there's some of the stories that one man who was burying his wife. He was in his 90s, and Nick can fill in some of the points here. When the Undertaker came in, he said, "I met her at Kennywood." I mean, that
first words out of his mouth.
And it's almost like they tell the story, you almost sit there and start crying. And
Yeah.
we had a situation last year, again, we're talking about storytelling and be able, again, I think what has made Kennywood successful over these 118 years, and one of the things that's always in the back of my mind, is the fact that they've been able to do it by maintaining a good emotional connection and innovation has been the 2 points that I think. And Kennywood has never gotten away from that, okay? And even bringing back the whale this past year, but for the locals in the area, that's an attraction that dates back to 1936. It's the last of its kind. And it was kind of one of the original Funhouse walkthroughs, and we just restored it for this past year. And it just really, really resonated well with not only the traditionalists, people over 25, even with the young kids coming through. But going back to the like I said, we have experiences. People come here, they find they come here with their class picnic, and they come with this for the first girlfriend that they kissed in what is now Garfield's nightmare, and used to be the old mill. Okay, people remember that. It's a series of the first jobs. Many kids, we employ how many children?
We're the largest youth employer in Western Pennsylvania.
So it's those stories that get told, and one of the most poignant stories that and not to sound cheesy or real bullshit, but it really resonated. We had a father whose son was passing away of cancer, a young boy about 4 years of age. And the dad said, no, we'll take you to Disney World. And the son said, no, I want to go to Kennywood. And his last the father wrote an open letter to Kennywood and posted it for the employees. And I mean, you're talking about a tearjerker. We just made you, at the last, on his deathbed, the kid's memories or what his interest was, Kennywood. And the father always wanted to say, thank you, Kennywood, for all you guys do. Blah, blah, blah. But those are the type of stories. And you think about 118 years. I mean, the First World War, Second World War, how many people brought their brides coming back from the war? The Vietnam veterans and everybody came through Kennywood. And I can walk around the park there and actually feel the ghosts, the spirits of Kennywood. So that's what I'm saying. There's a great sense of pride. And again, I'm not from the area, and I already have more of a connection with the park from a career standpoint.
That's Chris Salerno, the VP of Sales and Marketing at Kennywood, here on the No BS Marketing Show. We also have Nick Paradise, the Director of PR. For you, our listeners of the No BS Marketing Show, Audible's offering a free download with a 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Try a book like Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and the Quest for a Fantastic Future. I listen to it while walking and other things, getting it driving even sometimes, and just a great book to listen to. You can download that or any other book for free today. Go to audibletrial.com/nobs. Again, that's audibletrial.com/nobs for your free audiobook and free trial. Nick, let's touch back on the social media, and then we're going to get into the tool or tip and a couple of the other things we do on the No BS show. You talked about how Facebook, you multiple times in the summer, daily, you've been going towards video. I couldn't have paid you more to say that. Just did a presentation at a large all-employee meeting, and we were talking about Let's Get Digital was the presentation. I was talking about how video is king. People have talked about content being king for 5 years. It's been a cliche, and it was BS, because what it led to was a lot of BS marketers and BS PR people just pushed out all kinds of their content, not making it about them, not making it about the customer. So talk about how your social media is about them. You make it about them, and go beyond Facebook.
Sure. And the key, of course, the content thing, and it's the same with video, the video content, is the word good needs to be in there. It needs to be good, engaging content. And we, of course, Facebook is the 800-pound gorilla, and you can't avoid that. It hasn't transitioned past it. But we try to look at other spaces. Instagram is a fantastic place, especially for a place like Kennywood, with the images. And what we try to do is wrap in other people's stories, and we want to encourage them to share their content with us, whether it's a photo that they took. We talked about the falling in love thing. They want to come out and take an engagement photo shoot, and hey, share those pictures with us. Share us your things and run photo contests, and ask people for their stories that we can share. That's when that lands on my my inbox or on my desk of a really compelling touching story that somebody shared about their experience with Kennywood. That's gold from my perspective, my point of view, and my role. We try to just position things that are gonna spark people and make them think. It's easy for someone to picture on one of these hot days, and you just post a short video on a Twitter or a Vine of the raging rapids rolling towards the waterfall, and are you going to get it or aren't you? And our followers, they've lived that. They've been in that raft as they tumble towards getting drenched, and it's easy for them to put themselves in their shoes. So let them see it. And I use that both as literally and as the acronym, like Chris was talking about, the C, one of the first things he taught me, significant emotional experiences, that acronym. And so I try to work that into just about everything that we do, and filter in some, of course, selling of course, the products. We have to push them every once in a while, to our website to buy our tickets, to buy our season pass, to get on out to Kennywood. But we try to filter that in so that that's not the overriding message, because we know that'll just turn people off. They don't want to do that. Even the algorithms for places like Facebook or Instagram, you can't put a link in your messaging. So we have to find ways around it, and make sure that ultimately that the content, and growing more and more, of course, like you said, the video content is king. one of the new challenges for us is to keep abreast on Snapchat, which is the growing kingpin that's kicked Twitter, out of the big four. And is claiming its place, with Facebook, with YouTube, with Instagram, as the most important social networks to be on. And, I have to admit that I get tips from my 13-year-old niece on how to engage with Snapchat, and my college interns on how to really, connect there. But that's the key, and finding ways to continue to stay on the cutting edge, while not also spreading so thin that the messaging gets diluted, because there are so many places to be.
The No BS Marketing Podcast with Dave Mastovich is brought to you by Mass Solutions. Put our 3-step No BS process to work for you. Visit masssolutions.biz today to take your marketing to another level. It's all about bold solutions, no BS.
A lot of good stuff. Can you pick one tool or one tip you'd offer that will help our audience tell their story, craft their message, or communicate to internal and external target audience? I'm going to have you both do it. It could be a tool, like something like what you use to post. Maybe you say HubSpot's a great tool. Or it could be a tip like, Chris, maybe yours is significant emotional experience, SEE. So, Nick, go ahead first, since you were finishing up on some digital, and then we'll come back to Chris.
Sure. I think a lot of the success and the feedback that I've heard, what people really like that I've tried to do, is to take people behind the curtain. So, like Chris mentioned, when we're closed, I'll go down into the mechanic shops and the maintenance shops and, take little videos or snap pictures of those guys working on putting the rides together, of people painting and getting ready for the season, and things that, all that stuff that happens behind the curtain, that's behind closed doors, that people don't see. So they get a little sneak peek into how our operation works, and that engagement goes really well. And even again with the Noah's Ark stuff, just feeding people piecemeal updates from the construction site and what we're doing. People eat that up. They want to, if they like your brand, and if you've told your story, and of course I came in, I didn't tell Kennywood's story. Kennywood's been telling its story for 118 years, so I am not going to take the credit for that. But to pick up the baton these last couple of years, if you've got people hooked, to keep them hooked, show them how you make the sausage, I guess, to steal a phrase. That has really been successful for us. People have loved to see that.
That's a great tip. Chris, how about you?
Yeah, we talked a lot about technology, but if you step back at the end of the day, I mean, we were only in business because of our customers, okay? And I think that's important for any company or industry to recognize, is that at the end of the day, we have to deliver the experience, okay? And you want to build those relationships. We have right now probably 35,000 season pass holders. And these are people who come to, they're essentially a loyalty club program. So I think that's really, really important. At the end of the day, don't take your eye off the ball. You're there, we deliver experience. We have fun. Yes, we have fun. But at the end of the day, it's big business. Don't anybody make any mistake about that. We generate millions of dollars a year in profitability. But at the end of the day, we also take care of our customers. There is more of a real true guest centricity. That our general manager, returns phone calls from guests who may have had a disappointing experience for one another. None of us are above that, okay? And at the end of the day, it's just the basics of working in an amusement park, picking up the trash, smiling at the guests and things like that, which is a challenge for a lot of new people coming into the business. I do notice that there's a little bit of a shift, but just keeping your customer at the heart. You
were mentioning some of the Philly places where you went to eat.
Yes.
Is there anybody that can touch that potato patch?
No. That I tell my friends back, and it's just 6 hours east of here. You got to come out to Pittsburgh for the patch fries. Yeah, that's a great. It. Yeah, not my course to your cardiologist isn't going to like it, but you're on vacation though. But yeah,
beautiful stuff. So, quick question for you guys: Are you ready to hit the bullseye?
Yeah, sure.
They're like, what are you talking about? All right, it's time to keep calm and hit the bullseye. I'll ask you to choose between two marketing or messaging classics. You tell me which one you like more and why, but you only have a few seconds, and then we'll rotate with you guys, okay? So you can tell a different, you have to say a different answer. Well, you don't have to. I'm just saying don't give the exact same answer as your counterpart. The first one, Geico's Gecko or the Aflac Duck?
Aflac Duck.
Why?
Just a colorful character.
Oh, beautiful. How about you?
I'd say the duck as well. The Yogi Berra commercials, I still remember. It's probably been 10, 12 years since they were on the air.
Beautiful. So we're going to start with you on the next one. The Jackrabbit or the Thunderbolt?
Jackrabbit, double dip.
All right.
That's the history of the Jackrabbit. Premiere in 1910. It's still a classic.
Incredible, isn't it? All right. We'll go back to you. MasterCard, priceless, or Visa, everywhere you want to be?
Jeez.
These are hard, aren't
These
they?
are hard.
They're meant to be hard.
What was the question again?
You pick which one you like more and why. So it's MasterCard, priceless, or Visa, everywhere you want to be.
I guess with Visa, everywhere you want to be.
It's tough, though.
It's tough.
All right. How about you?
I have to admit, I don't really remember either of those, but I would say that my Visa. I would say Visa because it worked enough that I have grew with the mindset that you should get a Visa because you can use it anywhere you want, and other cards. I don't know if it was Visa that said, but they won't take American Express.
Yeah,
and that I remember.
Yeah. Well, so if we were doing the priceless for Kennywood, we would say like 2 tickets, potato patch.
Oh, okay.
Thunderbolt,
Yes, I didn't remember
spending
that.
time with my 3 kids in the sun, getting mad. Priceless.
Yes,
That's my own
that
little
one,
life
that
story.
was good too. That was good too. But the Visa one, I still has a stronger memory.
Once
Still
I had my sons, I have
inbred.
to tell you, Kennywood was like the greatest experience when I was a kid. I loved it. Then as a dad, it was hard. I would like say, "Oh man, Kennywood
when you're
Day,"
there
when
in
they're
Kiddie
5
Land and you
3.
can't actually ride in.
But
Yeah, you
that's
can't
the
ride
worst.
anything.
When they're
Yeah.
anything below like 8, it was so.
And you
hard.
just
But
wanna
my-
say,
and
"You
my
sure?"
boys they're young men, 2 of them now, and the other one's still a boy, I'd say, but they are all boys, all boy. I mean, like. I would be soaked. People would just come and go, "Were you working out?" Because I'd be chasing them in that kiddie land.
But if you work there, you're the coolest dad.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more of these. So
This is like I feel like I'm SATs. I haven't been
is
like
the
this. I'm
SATs.
stressing here.
now remember what my rant was on episode 1 was, I'm a basketball guy at heart, and Pittsburgh's not a basketball place, but I'm still going to ask you both, and hopefully you guys will have any feeling. And you can look at it from a messaging standpoint. If you're not into basketball at all, both of these guys are big-time messaging guys, and they're very different approaches from a messaging standpoint. So you can just tell me what you think about them, either player, as a messaging guy. So we'll start with you, because they're more your era. LeBron James or Kobe Bryant?
Man. Oh, I like them both. I guess I want to go with Kobe. I guess it's partly the attitude, I don't give a,
Yeah.
that he gives off a lot of times, and I think to give yourself a nickname and call brand yourself as the Black Mamba and for it to stick in a not making fun of him way is pretty impressive.
Now, this guy's from Philly, so there's a decent chance he's going to go with the Philly kid, but
Well, did
LeBron
you know
James
that
or Kobe Bryant?
what do you call
Jelly Bean?
Jellybean went to LaSalle?
There's no chance of you taking LeBron.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, although his son forgot, he pretended he was from Philadelphia. He thought he was from Italy because he spent so much time abroad.
Yeah.
so that didn't sit well with us Philadelphians. So I'm going with LeBron.
From Lower Marion
Yeah,
High School. You went with LeBron. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to go 2 generations here on this next one. It's the last one. It's a fun one. Sopranos or Breaking Bad? We'll start with you.
Oh, I was a big Sopranos fan. Tony Soprano, he ran a tight ship. I try to run my business at Kennywood the same way he ran his business. I told Nick
You pay your guys in paper
I
bags?
told Nick he's always one step from being whacked.
We hear lots of Godfather quotes.
We do, yeah. I
It'll
make it mandatory viewing. I have one guy that he didn't even heard of The Godfather, so I went and got my CDs and brought him in and made him watch it.
That's beautiful.
So then he understands how business
She
runs.
said they don't have direct deposit. They meet on a Friday, and he hands out the
Exactly.
money.
Exactly.
You're going to go with Breaking Bad, I'm pretty sure.
I have not seen Breaking Bad.
Uh-oh.
I just finished watching Breaking Bad.
Another great one.
Mr.
We're too
White.
locked into. I'll go off the map and say Game of Thrones.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Great. Tell me what makes that one so resonate with you.
Well, I think what's so interesting is that it's that high fantasy and all that, dragons and zombies and all that craziness and big battle scenes and stuff like that. But it's not. It's where stuff really gets done is the backroom dealing and the negotiations and the politics and dealing with that stuff and the interaction between individuals. And that's what's impressive. And they pitched it as Sopranos meets Lord of the Rings, and you can definitely see that Sopranos influence in it, and we're getting double crossed and things like that.
Both you have great summaries on those. No, so one last thing before we go into the contact info, I want to give you both a chance to think of one thing about Kennywood that people might not know. As illustrious as Kennywood is how much it resonates with all of us, is how much we all know about the potato patch. Is there another place that people don't eat at enough? Is there a ride that's a new thing that you think half the people don't even realize is there? Is it some kind of event that you have in the nighttime, or is it just one thing that you both think the average person needs to know about? It's another piece of the Kennywood story.
Yeah, we launched it last year, a new 4D theater, okay, that during the summer months showcases No Time for
Ice Age, No Time for Nuts.
Okay. And then at Christmas time or Halloween, during our Phantom Fright Night Festival, we had the I guess it was the 13 best killings of the Halloween series.
Friday the 13th.
I love
Friday
that.
the 13th. And then at Christmas time, we debut the, and again, these films are all about 12, 13 minutes long. The Christmas time was the
Polar Express.
Polar Express. So that's kind of neat, especially on a hot day like today. People, so it's 13 minutes of free air conditioning.
Talk numbers for a second about the Fright Night Halloween thing and Christmas, because that's where I think you do have people that haven't tried that need to try both those. I think they're both awesome.
Yeah, especially the holiday special for the families. That's just a great event. I mean, again, being in the business a long time, and Hershey's got their Christmas festival and places like that. But the Kennywood maintenance staff really do a great job. They start that like right after Phantom Fright Nights, and then this past year we introduced a new holiday tree that's how many feet? Is that?
90 feet tall.
90 feet, and the way they decorated that. That's just a great event for the families, and then for the teens and for the young adults. I mean, walking through the tunnel with the chainsaw is a little enervating.
Yeah.
I'm an employee and I don't like walking around the park, but that's so and they do a great job with it. You're right. Especially I like holiday. I just think it's pure Kennywood.
I just think that those are stories that people might have heard but not tried. So I'd like to see more people. When we post this on social and everything, we should maybe mention that in the show notes, Suzanne.
Absolutely.
So what's your one?
Oh, just one is really hard. The 4D theater was one that I thought about, but okay, I'm going to cheat real quick. Potato Patch is awesome, but the lines can be really long. There's two other places in the park in Lost Kennywood and the stand over by the Log Jammer where you can also get Potato Patch fries. The lines are also a lot shorter.
Go over those again slower.
Okay. The Star Refreshment Stand, it's called. It's right by the Log Jammer. That's where you can get funnel cakes and deep fried Oreos on one side. You can also get Potato Patch fries on the other side, and the lines are usually very short.
Wow, that's a huge tip.
And most people do know about the stand in Lost Kennywood. It's called Small Fry. It's got the big potato guy. Those lines can get a little longer, but still not as long as the Potato Patch. So same great fries, 3 different locations. You don't have to wait in quite as long a line.
Now that is a PR and social media guy, and that is a sales and marketing guy. You got to love them both. So how can listeners contact you if they would like to learn more about what you do?
Yeah, they can contact me at my business email address. I have no problem with that. That would be Chris, CHRIS, .Salerno, SALERNO, @Kennywood.com.
Okay, I'm email as well, first name, last name, nick.paradise @kennywood.com. Twitter for me is @Kennywood_PR. For the park, it's @Kenny_kangaroo. I can connect with me on LinkedIn, but please send me a personalized message so I know who, why, and how you're contacting me. Social media guy, rant, if you will. And then, of course, you want to connect with the park on Instagram. We are @Kennywood Park. Like I said, Twitter is @Kenny_kangaroo. We're on Snapchat, Kennywood Park. Our Facebook page, of course, facebook.com/Kennywood. Oh, Kennywood Park, I'm sorry.
When I think of Kennywood, I think of fun times, and that's what this was on the No BS Marketing Show. Chris, Nick, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for the No Bullshit Marketing Show. Visit boldsolutionsnobs.com for show notes plus additional marketing and messaging resources. Are you signed up for light reading? Guys, sign up for it. You'll receive valuable strategies every other week to improve your marketing and transform your message. It really is light, intended to be read in 2 minutes or less, and it just might trigger bright ideas for you. To sign up, visit masssolutions.biz. Remember, ask yourself, what's the big idea, and build your story around the answer. It's all about bold solutions.